Hello and welcome to When Will It End? It's a film series podcast. We look at a movie, we watch the first one, we watch the second one, we watch the third one. This is crazy. Charles, this is the farthest we've gone in this show so far. 3 movies deep into a series.
That's true. And I mean, we've been looking at movies our whole lives. I feel like we're ready for this.
Our entire lives have come to this moment where we sat in a small dark room and watched Shrek 3.
Shrek the Third.
I am so sorry. To Chris Miller, director of Shrek 3.
Not the Chris Miller, but Chris Miller.
Another Chris Miller.
Yeah, just as... Can I say it?
Please.
Just as good. Well, based on this one, maybe not just...
Hold on. I think it's a credit to this Chris Miller that I thought it may have been the other Chris Miller.
Yeah.
He got to that point.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're Josh and Charles. We're coming in hot, looking at series, and we're really just like, we're looking at what a series is and why they exist, where they go, what they're for.
Right. We set the stage with the first film. We dig into it with the second. And where do you go with the third? You know, it's a huge question. We were worried going into Shrek 3 that Shrek 2 really cohered into like a real movie. Shrek 1 is essentially like, you know, the first level of a video game. You learn the basic rules.
Right. I love that.
Well, I'm just imagining the Shrek video games that we're not playing for the series that I may investigate
we're gonna do that.
independently. No. So Shrek 1, it sets the stage. Shrek 2, we get an actual movie where there's stakes and things happen and things change. We just watched Shrek 3, and I have to say...
Shrek the Third.
Fuck.
Please.
Chris Miller, I am...
Do we have to start this over again?
Honestly, both Chris Millers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Really. Neither of them want to be mentioned in the podcast, I think.
Yeah. We're going to really look. We had some questions after the end of Shrek 2, which is called Shrek 2, not Shrek the Second.
Yeah,
Shrek 2.
The naming convention of the series, it's extremely erratic.
Right. So we have some questions, we had some expectations, we had some hopes. After the episode, you told me that you snuck a peek at, what was it, Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes?
Well, I looked at the reviews, and it became very clear that the critical acclaim for Shrek plummeted for Shrek the Third.
Yeah, it halved. That was good.
Thank you. It was very good. So, okay, Shrek 1, 88% Rotten Tomatoes. Shrek 2, 89% Rotten Tomatoes. Could you even get to 90? No. Plummeted to 41% approval.
Wait, what happened to the tomatoes? I was loving these tomatoes.
Okay, Tomatoes 3? Tomatoes the Third?
No, 41%.
Rotten Tomatoes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
It craters out really hard. So we're going into this being like,
ooh, they
may have lost the thread because, like, honestly, though our appetites were wet, 3 in a row is very hard to do.
Yeah. And even after getting wet. I think that knowing that plummet, I think that was great because I was expecting a bad movie.
The beautiful thing about movies is that when they outlive their basic premise, they just enter a world full of rules that only exist now in this one bizarre thing. And if you can look forward into the future of that and not apologize and not blink as a filmmaker and just be like, we're now in the liner notes of Shrek the universe. We're really in a world now completely spun off onto its own. What do we do with it?
Right.
And okay, at the end of 2, I really wanted them to expand the Shrekiverse and take us to some new places. And I would say the divide of success and failure in Shrek 3 along those attempts is Shrek the Third. Chris, I'm so sorry. Charles, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm included in this apology finally.
Yeah, you're now a part of the pack.
I'm most affected by it.
It's true. You look devastated.
I do.
You don't look well.
No, you keep saying it.
Have you been eating well?
I mean, just what you've been feeding me.
And yeah, before we go too far, I think Josh and Charles Productions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we have a lavish production suite for this record. It's pretty amazing.
It's really nice. It's like something out of Shrek the Third even.
Exactly.
Yeah, like one of those awful... It's like on stage at the end.
Shrek 3 is a crazy movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Where are we going to start?
Let's start with this. They bring back everyone. In the first few minutes of the movie, they make it very clear everyone's back. Gingerbread Man,
right.
3 Little Pigs, Donkey, Puss in Boots.
Honestly, it was so fast, I was overwhelmed and a little worried. It's like, God, here's the whole cast. That means they're just cramming this all in. But then we realized that this is very quickly new writers, new director, whole new team behind this franchise. And that's what's fun about a series like this is that they keep everything stays the same, but everything behind the scenes changes, and you can fall in love with these characters, but get a whole. They start becoming other things. And this is 6 years later.
It's only it's only 4 years later, 2007.
Yeah, it's Shrek. No, I'm saying from Shrek 1.
Oh yeah, a huge jump.
Yeah.
In so many ways. Well, in a way, like, I was gonna get, like, the idea is that there's like all these new voices behind it. So we're so far into the series that now it's like its own fan cosplay written like fan fiction level Shrek.
Right. Do you think all the like weird internet sex memes are out there at this point, or is that later?
There's no way there aren't a ton of Shrek sex memes out there. I'm sure. I think I've seen some of them.
I mean, but were there memes in 2000? I mean, I know there were memes, but are there memes on that level in 2007?
Well, we're talking Minspo, right? This whole series, really?
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm sure the sexualizing of Shrek certainly was Minspo for the sexualization of the minions.
Right, and if anyone missed the last episode, #Minspo if you understand the inspiration for Minions, if you have any ideas, or if you've just been inspired by Minions.
Personal stories, observations, whatever you got, we really want to hear it.
I have a lot.
And
I
Charles,
wish I had Twitter.
He's been regaling me with them every bathroom break. He'll just come in next to me and start reeling off Minspos.
Oh my God.
It's honestly inspiring.
There was this, I drove by it a lot out in Virginia. There was this house that had a giant inflatable one-eyed minion. One-eyed minion is my favorite minion.
Aren't they all one-eyed?
No, some have two.
Oh.
Some might have more. I don't know. I'm not super into it, but I know there's the one, and I just imagine like cranking in that eye. I don't know why that's such a weird fantasy of mine, but to crank it in that eye, blind him, that poor little minion. But then, I know I just winked, but that minion can't wink because he's blinded by my cum.
Your girlfriend's a lucky woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
She loved that, by the way. Every time I mentioned that I wanted to fuck that.
How often do you bring up coming in the eye of a inflatable
I never told.
minion?
I thought it might have been a little early for the coming in the eye part.
Right.
But like I told her I wanted to fuck that minion, even the inflatable thing. Just find that little like blowhole. just find that the blowhole in the back. Usually it's on the butt for some reason. I don't know why. Those big inflatable guys.
To get a glimpse inside the mind that brings us half of this podcast is, I think, edifying for everybody.
Yeah.
To look behind the curtain and see what's ticking in the clock tower.
Yeah, we noticed some Minspo action in this movie, but honestly, I think I forgot.
Yeah.
What was that? There was something that was like, oh yeah, this feels very much like a Minions, or at least an
I think, well, I want to hold on to this. The baby dream, some of the imagery in that reminded me of both Minspo and Toy Story. This in the claw, the whole claw segment. Well, let's get to the baby dream in a minute.
So I mean, I just want to interrupt to talk about. There was this moment where I was not sure if this was a good movie or not, and then like 10 minutes in, I was like, no, this is a good movie. What's going on? Why are people rating this so poorly? This is the best. I'm going to come out right now, early on.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad this series hasn't ended.
Shrek 3 is the ultimate Shrek for Shrek fans.
Shrek the Third.
I'm so sorry, Chris. Chris, I'm sorry. Mike, Eddie, Julie.
What about me this time? Am I not?
Justin.
Me?
Eric. Rupert. John. Charles.
Yeah, thanks. Okay.
You're welcome. No, there were two moments in this movie that easily solidified it as like, there's one joke in here, and it reminds me, have you ever seen Freaked, the famous movie Freaked with Bobcat Goldthwait and Alex whatever from Bill and Ted?
No, just give him a point.
Okay, they do a scene in that where like the joke is like a wrench has like a flashback of this wrench's entire life. It's a very funny
I've heard
moment.
about
Right.
that. Yeah,
one of my favorite bits in a movie ever. Shrek the Third does that joke.
Great work.
Thank you very much. The gingerbread man's entire life flashes before his eyes at one point, and at that moment I was like, this is the best joke of the entire series. Like this is the funniest joke they've ever done. And that was after the baby dream, the Tim Burton Lynchian nightmare Shrek has that I don't even know if I want to describe that much because you need to see Shrek the Third.
Yeah, I'm sure if you just search Google,
YouTube.
Put that in there. Put YouTube in there. Put Shrek the Third or Shrek 3. I'm sure Google YouTube will figure it out. And Baby Dream? Baby Nightmare? Baby Nightmare?
The tone of this, okay, this is again like, it's like fanfic Shrek. So you get these moments in it that are so strange, like so genuinely strange, and a whole new tone from the first two movies. I think in a way they acknowledge our major criticism that a lot of the main characters are just lifeless and boring, and like dig into it. Like this is a movie about like essentially like a middle-aged man contemplating having a family and this like massive crisis he has about the fear of parenthood.
You don't know. He could be 23.
You think Shrek is 23?
He could be 23.
He seems awfully used to the ogre lifestyle for a 23-year-old.
I mean, when I was 23, I was also used to the ogre lifestyle.
Hey, I knew you then. It's hard to argue.
Yeah, I don't know. He could be Could be middle-aged. I feel like he does have that cemented, like he's very stuck in his ways, which an old person would have. But
he has a dead-eyed stare, I'd say.
it's usually because the CGI was bad in 2001. But I don't know. I see what you're saying. This is like, we talked about this. First movie is more about friendship. There's a little bit of love, but like it's more about the friendship that he has with Donkey, and even the friendship that he gets to then turn into love with Fiona. Second one's all about love, marriage. This one's all about baby. So we're definitely going down the path of growing up. We're watching Shrek grow up right before our very eyes.
Well, we really are. And in this way, like, if the first movie he comes together with Fiona, and in the second movie he's together with Fiona, in this, they're torn apart by circumstance to consider their future together.
Right.
Under the impending birth of their first ogre child.
Yeah.
And like...
Or first ogre birth, because they have...
It's very unclear.
At least 3 children.
At first, it seems like she's had 3 separate pregnancies, but then it seems like it's just the one. I couldn't figure that out.
They have triplets. I think it's much like donkeys and dragons. It's a litter. They have litters, right?
Yeah.
Shreks have litters. Ogres have litters. We got to read the sty.
Well, it's a gaggle of Ruperts, I believe we established. So we'll work backwards from that, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so the things they kept in this movie... Well, let's start with there. When they introduced Prince Charming as the return to antagonist, what was your reaction to that? I felt very mixed about it.
Yeah, we talked last time how he was treated strangely. He wasn't really given much of a character credit, and he was also like sort of making fun of his homosexuality, or at least his foppishness and his effeminacy.
The playing up of his flamboyance is the kind of joke where you're like, I get what you're doing here. I don't get why you're doing
So it sort of sullied the character, made him less important. I didn't really trust him because the writers didn't seem to care about him. When seeing him as going to be our main antagonist, I was a little worried until like the first joke of the movie landed. Like when he storms off stage, walks into his dressing room, and it turns out to be an alley in the street.
It's a cracked mirror with like lights taped to a wall, and in a
Outside.
graffitied alleyway with a shot that shows him directly in the shadow of the castle he once attempted to.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So it's like I could tell this was going to be a different experience than the last one. It took itself much more playfully, which is what we've been missing. It's been very earnest. We have this like goofy series of weirdos, and it's almost been a serious drama.
Okay, if in Shrek 2, the idea was that he was flamboyant, in Shrek the Third, they give him the actual story to make his gravitas and campiness like arch and evil and big. And then his character works.
Right.
Now he's actually he much in a Joker-like or a Bane-like manner or Joker-like manner.
I'd say Bane.
Bane-like
because it
manner.
does end up being a lot like Dark Knight Rises at the end.
Right, and I can't wait for the day we finally dig into that series.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We should do that.
We really should.
We'll never do Star Wars, but Dark Knight.
I have not rewatched The Dark Knight Rises since seeing it in theaters.
You made me. You hated it so much. I was like, I remember it being pretty good.
I truly think it's one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life.
It's very bad. The pacing is
bad.
very bad.
It makes no sense.
Which is weird because Nolan is usually a master of pacing, master of timing, master of chronology.
Don't get me started on the use of time in that movie. It is abominable.
It's bad.
Okay, we can't.
Not like Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. Get him off the beach, boys.
Take me home, boy.
I'd like to go back to Bristol. It's pretty good, right? That's a real place, Bristol.
Was that Harry?
Sure, whatever. It was that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Shrek the Third, they actually give...
You're doing so good.
Thank you very much. I'm really working on this.
So good.
It's, you've given me
I
Minspo.
love this because...
Shrekspo, I guess?
No, I mean, Minspo is it's a feeling. Yeah, it can be literally about minions, but it's more just a feeling. But I also want to say, you listen to me. I feel like a lot of relationships are based on, like, you'll say something, I'll say something, you'll say... And I've told you time and time again, Shrek the Third. And you got it wrong, but not because you weren't listening. It was hard for you to change. Yeah. And sort of like in Shrek 2, it's not like I'm trying to get you to change who you are. I'm just trying to get you to understand who I am. And we can become better as a team.
Well, if we can really hear each other and feel heard. And this movie is all about feeling heard.
I feel heard. I said Shrek the Third, Shrek the Third, Shrek the Third.
And I heard you.
And you heard me, and you're saying it.
You said Shrek the Third, and I said, yes, I will, Charles.
And then you didn't, but I knew.
No, I worked it out.
You worked it out.
I got a few mulligans.
We're so strong.
Everyone gets a few mulligans.
Especially Mulligan. I don't know who that is.
Shrek the Third. Okay, so another thing we wanted in Shrek the Third was expansion to other parts of the Shrekiverse.
Right.
This is where things got very hit or miss.
Right.
One huge hit, one character, an entire island adventure, Odysseus, whatever, Odyssey thing that was so stellar, Merlin. But
Hell
leading
yeah.
up to that, we got
Oh boy.
probably the worst
High School Land?
High School Land, which was like, it's called Worcestershire, and it's like,
Yeah, I mean, we knew, like, that was the first time we looked at each other and was like, that joke didn't work, which is weird because most Shrek jokes don't work.
but that like really, they enter like, I don't even know how to describe, Harry Potter / Twilight kind of like.
Yeah, it was fucked. And then
It wasn't good.
And then Donkey's like, Worcestershire. That sounds sexy. And then Shrek says Worcestershire, and then he goes, "Oh, like the sauce, spicy." Like that whole sequence was
agonizing. Why it was so weird and shitty.
Yeah.
They swung really hard and like completely hit nothing.
And I think they were leading up to us just being expecting just a whole 10-minute sequence that wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And like coming on to Shrek was weird, like high schoolers coming on to Shrek.
Right. Look, thinking Shrek is daddy, I understand. I think there's no way to watch these movies. And again, we get some shirtless Shrek opening this movie. Yeah. Too hot
You
to
said
handle.
multiple times, like, you can't wait for your Shrek bod to come in.
I know. I'm like praying for a Shrek
You're
bod.
pounding beers all day, just like
As
give
I
me that
age,
Shrek bod.
my goal now is a Shrek pod. But no, so like while Shrek may be daddy, it's weird to like write in high schoolers hitting on a Shrek. By the way, earlier watching this movie, you turned to me and said, "We're watching a movie about a green man and his friends."
Yeah.
This is such an unapologetic third movie in a series. It's like high fantasy. It's like this level of absurdity where they're like, this is just the world now.
Right. And
they
I
wrote
love
this, like,
that.
Yeah.
That's what's great about series is like the first one is setting the stage. The second one is getting like used to it. You know, when you get like a new leather suit, you got
Not you, my friend.
No, not me. I got that fake leather, but it doesn't quite work for fake leather, vegan leather. Not fake. It's not fake.
Oh God. Okay.
It's not fake.
Roller Coaster Part 2.
No, this is militant me. It's
Yeah.
not fake.
Militant you is very mild.
Yeah,
you
I
know that, right?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm a pushover. You could probably get me chicken tonight.
That's the end game here.
But yeah, like the second one's like, you know, that noise that leather makes when it's new.
It's creaking is what you were talking
Yeah,
about. The word is creaking.
they're trying to get it to fit. And then the third one, it's like, oh, this world makes sense. This world exists. We don't have to try to make the world anymore. We can just live in it now.
Right. And I think the biggest payoff of that is that they set up like, we're doing King Arthur. And I was like, this is very sweaty and weird. I don't like this. I don't get why they're doing this. And then all of it pays off when we go to our second location, Merlin's Island, where Eric Idle plays Merlin as like a new age schizophrenic.
Yeah.
It is stunning.
Before we continue, let's list off the people. I mean, you already did when you apologized to them, but let's get some last names. We got a John Cleese still. He dies a bunch. He's great.
Okay, no, hold on. Stop. Full
Eric,
stop.
whoa. All right.
John Cleese's death scene in this movie was extremely bizarre.
Yeah, we kept waiting for this movie to get bad, and it just kept succeeding time and time again.
What this movie did as a third movie, and I really think as a serious point, this is actually serious, it defied expectation every time.
Right. We're so used to series getting worse, and I don't know if that's a product of the 80s and 90s or what, but like as a kid, it's just like the first one's good, the second one's worse, and then the third, anything after 3, it's like all those horror movies. It's like they're just cashing in. We're living in a time where it's just getting better and better.
I wonder if you had the same thought. J.J. Abrams' Star Trek.
Yeah.
They've gotten to this point in those movies where everything is like another, they're episoding those movies now.
Right.
Where the Simon
That's
Pegg,
true.
the fourth one or the
Yeah.
third one, like it was just like a fun adventure, and not a lot happened in the plot, but it was like an adventure, and it was fine. It was like, I had no complaints about it. I was like,
Yeah.
we're in this world of Star Trek. Give me a middle of the series Star Trek movie where they just have an adventure. It does not need to be saving the world. Kind of like Ant-Man and the Wasp, like a
Right.
palate cleanser where you're like, oh, this is the stake of everything is not on the third movie for the third time in a row.
Right. It gets weird. If you're like, every time they get together, there's something cataclysmic,
This movie is not about him and Fiona breaking up. It's about
Nope.
them having a child.
which is lovely.
It's beautiful.
It's once again about this. These movies tackle big problems, or not problems, but just like
Challenges.
challenge. I love that. Challenges. And they do it in a way that I feel, even though Mike Myers once again gives a really lackluster performance. I forgot the line, but like one of the lines are just like, he was reading it. He's just like such a boring actor in this movie. But yeah, it's they tackle these challenges, and I always feel like the characters are trying to do their best and really do the best for the people that they love.
Yeah, and the biggest inclusion into the cast is Justin Timberlake as King Arthur.
Right. Well,
as
he was
Artie.
technically in the second one.
Oh yes, there's a poster with his face on it.
Yeah.
In the four-post bed.
Yeah, on top where she can be.
You can really flick it to some JT.
Yeah, flick it.
As we've all done to JT. He brought sexy back. That's all I'm saying.
I never did that.
Really?
Never flicked it to JT. I should have.
There's still time.
There is still
Nothing
time.
holds you back from that goal.
Do you just like give it a good flick over and over again?
Bing, 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 bing. That kind of thing.
Yeah, flick. How fast you have to go.
How'd you think you worked in the cast?
It was, as you said halfway through, it's hard to say whether he's not a great actor or he's really good at pretending to be a high schooler.
Yeah, he nailed a high schooler, but in a way where it was like eerily on.
Like, is he just bad at this or is he nailing this? But if you can't tell, I think it worked. Like, I liked that character. I thought his ending scene was good. I don't think he was the best. I think he was just there because,
If they had gone a different direction with the character, like more of like a tortured nerd thing.
Right, like those tortured nerds that they had in the movie.
No, but
they
those
got
were like,
nosebleeds.
That was like, I don't know. That was
that
so
whole
lame.
scene sucked. That whole island sucked.
Shrek trying to do high school voice. No thanks.
I like that.
Leave it in.
Just
double it.
Just no thanks. No thanks, Shrek.
I didn't
what
buy
was
it.
Oh, it's like,
he's like, sup, my dude.
Sup.
I'm a teen like you, my cool kids.
it went on so long that
Yeah.
I think they realized that they either had to cut it or double it.
And they doubled it.
They
doubled
quadrupled it.
They quadrupled it.
I think they realized that the double was also bad, so they just kept doubling until the director was like, "All right, we can't spend any more resources on making Shrek do gang signs anymore."
Well, the real first slam dunk in this movie that we actually, in a first for When Will It End, we rewound a movie to rewatch a segment.
Yeah, we went out, bought it on VHS,
Took it back here, got all the cables plugged in accordingly.
Yeah.
What we did was we ran each of the separate classic VHS outs into one HDMI converter, which we then ran to the back of the PC.
The PC. Yeah. It was quite a process. I mean, I don't recommend it. Don't do it at home. It's not safe. But
Don't do it.
Yeah, but it looks great.
We fast forward it. It looked nothing beats sending a VHS tape through a converter
HDMI.
into a monitor.
Yeah.
But no, we rewound this part. It was so incredible. Shrek is on the boat heading home with King Arthur, who he would like to install as the successor to the dead John Cleese, the dead frog.
Were you
king.
talking about the baby joke?
The baby dream?
No, this is before. This is immediately after. Arthur isn't on board yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I jumped the gun.
Yeah, you did.
Forgive me.
No, it's fine. No.
Chris? Justin? John?
Charles.
Julie? Rupert?
Charles.
Cameron?
Charles.
Amy?
Yeah.
Maya?
Charles.
John?
Charles.
Jim from The Office, really?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the camera right now. You can't see it, but I'm looking right at the camera. That guy was fucking funny. He would fucking prank that guy.
This was right. So he learns he's a father.
Yeah.
Immediately has nightmares about it. Not even a second. He like falls asleep.
You're losing it. You're peeking.
He just is like, what? I'm a father now?
And it has like an agonized nightmare. The movie switches into a very Tim Burton-y, very Lynchian.
I'd compare it to Max Payne.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
It goes into this insanely cartoonish dream where it builds up to a climax where an ocean of baby ogres are pouring in the windows and doors, and he runs and bursts out of a door into the sunlight and wakes up. And he wakes up and turns to his friends and goes, I just had the craziest dream. And his friends wake up and they're baby ogre heads and he's still in the fucking dream. And one of them goes, da, da.
It was amazing. We rewound it. We watched it again. It was incredible.
It was transcendent. It was really the first time in any of the movies we really look deeply inside one of the characters' psyches, like very nakedly. And it's really dark and weird.
It was true. I loved it. It was similar to the scene with the gingerbread man. I don't even know what happens, why it happened.
The Captain Hook threatens to kill the gingerbread man.
He just has a
and
relapse.
He has a flashback to his entire life It is the funniest joke in the entire series.
So good.
I would go to bat and say that's my favorite moment in this so far.
So far, I think those two are both really good because, as you said, they allow you into something as in a really funny way, but it's like it's access.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're 3 movies deep. We want to look inside these characters and really get to the core of who they are. Yeah. We couldn't do this in Shrek 1. That'd be weird. He'd be too tortured in Shrek 1 if he was having nightmares about fatherhood. Like, that'd be really weird.
Right. Especially because he wasn't fucking anyone.
He wasn't fucking nobody. But now we know he's been fucking for some time.
Yeah.
Though, again, we don't know a lot about the chronology here. We know it's been long enough that John Cleese, the Frog King, is sick. Oh, by the way, let's go back for a minute. When the Frog King dies...
the first time,
there is another moment that is transcendent in this film where Puss in Boots takes his hat off, lowers his head solemnly, and says, Charles...
The Frog King is dead.
It is...
It doesn't sound like much, but...
It's a beautiful moment.
But again, like coming into it as the third in a series, as I said last time, Puss in Boots, he really fell flat for me. I was expecting not even that much. I was just expecting a character cat, and I got almost nothing. And here he's coming in swinging. He's coming in full force. He's telling jokes that are funny. He works in this movie. I wonder what did you think of the swapping bodies? I was excited when it happened.
One of the byproducts of Merlin summoning the mental acuity to send Shrek and company back to far, far away land or wherever the fuck.
Far, far away.
Sure.
Yeah, you got it.
To reclaim the castle from the evil Prince Charming, a schizophrenic nut who's putting on a play in which he will murder Shrek. Merlin accidentally swaps the Freaky Fridays.
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 That's definitely a verb.
He Freaky Fridays the donkey and Puss in Boots. And what results is low-key hijinks.
Yeah. But I was sort of expecting, like, in the same way that we got access into the dreams and the flashbacks, that I was hoping maybe the switching of the bodies would have sort of given us a little more entry into these two characters. But it really was just low-key hijinks. Nothing special coming from that.
No, I guess I thought there would be something in, like, Puss in Boots, who in this movie they establish is fucking nonstop.
He fucks.
He fucks all the time.
And fucking there was not like a weird exclamatory gerund. He is fucking nonstop.
No, it's implied that he's had sex with dozens of cats. Just stray cats around the island.
Right. And then he's like, oh, I haven't seen you before, but I will fuck you.
Right. It's intense. He's a very sexually aggressive anthropomorphic cat. Yeah, he seems to really rely on free love as a big part of his identity.
Yeah. I mean, are you talking free love or free love? Like, not paying for sex or the free
both.
love?
I think both.
I think both too.
I think he would though. He strikes me as that kind of guy.
Paying for sex?
I'm not saying anything good or bad about it. I'm just saying it seems like he'd throw down some shekel if he.
I mean, we were saying every town's got the prostitutes.
It's a conversation we have frequently while trying to Google prostitutes in whatever town we're in.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It just brings up Tinder.
Yeah,
like Tinder and Grindr. They always come up.
Old Grindr, they call it.
Yeah, I call it that.
Okay. You're an army of one on that one, I think.
I think so, but Tinder.
Right. No, I get it. I think I get it.
Grindr.
No, I hear you. So here's what I wanted from the movie. Maybe in the swap, Puss in Boots, that frisky Casanova. That Casanova.
Oh my God, that's so
pretty good, right? What if he had to learn about fatherhood?
Right.
You know?
I mean, we've 3 movies, all at a tight 90.
All at a tight 90.
I think we can't.
All ending in a musical number.
Right.
Yeah.
I just don't think they have time to really deal with every character. I think we get more, but we're really not expecting, like, at this point, I was hoping Donkey would take over as like a main, or at least a sub main. He's every movie. He keeps getting second billing. He is just falling in importance. His relationship with his dragon is meaningless. Like he's just fallen out for me. And I think that's fine. I think Eddie Murphy was good, but he's not going to carry the movies anymore. And especially the movies no longer about their friendship and their bond. Unless it goes back to that. Just keep him in there because he's a part of the series, but I'm not going to expect anything.
No, I hear you. It's weird that again, Shrek and the donkey they keep sliding down the bill of interesting characters.
Oh yeah, like Shrek is barely interesting at all. I mean, I think his little Freudian slip was a nice touch, even, and then like the scene where he's like,
I think that's an old chestnut.
King Arthur, you're gonna be a father.
And they're like, bro, you said father,
dude.
My guy,
you hide, Shrek.
What are you? Oh, there's high kids in this movie. We finally see marijuana. Suggested use of marijuana.
Well, it's frankincense and myrrh.
Yeah. Okay.
Some frankincense.
Some of the high school kids are falling out of a van and they're like, "Don't burn all my frankincense and myrrh, bro."
So that was good. That was the one good thing on the island of high school.
You got into 80s dead yet? Brent rules.
I was gonna say something.
I'm sure you were. You
there
often
it goes. Out of here.
The fact that you can just summon up that sound effect, though.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Like whatever you may have lost for.
Oh, thank you.
Clearly as you age, which I watch happen in front of me often.
Daily.
Right. The degradation mentally. People notice.
But I can make that whistle still.
And then it's like, well, it's cute. It's cute. He's falling apart, but he knows it.
There's one day where I'm going to be dying in a bed.
You'll just be whistling all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of performance.
Yeah. That was a performance.
And it was beautiful, yeah.
Thank you.
I thought Prince Charming ruled in this. I thought he proved himself as a fantastic villain. I like that he has this deeply personal vendetta that he literally has to act out for the approval of his nation to claim this. He tells a story about success in this entirely representative, metaphorical way that's like unhinged and totally of his own creation. And I love watching a character within a series tell his own version of the series in it.
Yeah.
Like watching people mythologize and create a narrative around the events of the films in front of us in the movies. It's weird and it totally worked here. I loved it.
Yeah. I think he really came back strong. He gave me a high five. He was good. And I think we were also nervous when we saw the drop in the score on Rotten Tomates. And then the movie opens, no book.
No book. That was a big change in pace.
So we were like, ooh, maybe that's why people are not liking it, because it's really throwing itself out from the series. No, the loss of the book, like, what are you going to do? It can't keep doing, like, I honestly think Shrek 2 should have abandoned the book. They should have seen then that if you're going to do more than 2, you can't keep this book joke up forever. It's just going to go stale.
It's way too limiting. And they threw it out and they talked about writing a story in real time in the story. I love it.
Yeah. So it was a good change, and hopefully Shrek 4 will find its own way when it starts.
It does raise a lot of questions for us, because like this feels like a huge hump for the series to clear, is that the third one was a slam dunk and I loved it.
Right.
So I feel like what an accomplishment. You really did it. You got through 3 very gracefully. The progression is very evident. What are you doing 4?
Well, one thing, we talked about this already, and I don't want this to take over the whole conversation, but first things first, can we please either get rid of or change the language around the trans or...
The Ugly Stepsisters joke is the worst part of the series. They could cut it out so easily.
They are just strangely, mildly offensive or worse.
They just keep going to it, and it's not funny. Nothing about it works.
And I feel like even in 2007, like that was a time where people were actually starting to talk about this No?
I think if you cared to listen, that conversation's been going on for decades.
Right. But I feel like I was going to say mainstream. Yeah. It was actually in like mainstream conversations. It was bigger. It was things that people are actually starting to talk about, and have it in a full like feature movie that was released nationally, worldwide, and it still has characters that are like, now it has 2. They're like doubled down on the insulting bullshit.
Also, it's a series. You have the chance to revise it whenever.
Right. That could have been, like, they revised so much. That's a great point. Why'd they keep them the same?
Yeah, very lazy. It was lazy, inconvenient, and that was, like, the worst part.
Yeah.
They got to stop it. I pray to God in 4 we can move past that. It's just
2011? 2010?
2010, Shrek the Fourth? Shrek Ever After?
Oh, yeah, it's something like that. I'm not going to correct you because I don't know, but it's like, it's either Shrek Ever After. Yeah, it's Shrek Ever After.
It's nice that you let me off the hook every now and then.
I know. I mean, that's what strong relationships are about. They're about forgiveness. They're about working.
And about trust.
It's about work.
Yeah.
I haven't worked a day in my life.
That's the worst quote ever. Like, get a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
I've never had a job. Just burning through Papa's money.
You know, it's true. You're fabulously wealthy. That's the best part of our friendship.
I live in Alston. I buy you everything.
You really do.
Yeah.
They say, what do you get a man who has everything? And they answer, Alston.
3-bedroom in Alston with 2
Blanchards,
roommates.
Walking distance to Blanchards.
Not anymore. It's too cold.
I guess everything in Alston is walking distance to Blanchards.
There's 2 shittier ones closer to me. They're a little smaller, but they're much closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get the same vodka. It's a little less expensive.
Or as Charles calls it when he walks in with his shoulders hunched, the usual.
Yeah. Please give me some of that Papa's clear liquid.
In a plastic bottle.
Yeah. Or a plastic bag. I don't even give a shit.
Just sucking it out of a ShopRite bag.
Yeah. Yep. They won't do that at Blanchard's.
Papa's juice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Papa's juice.
There's more cocktail making in Shrek the Third.
Oh, yeah, it was. I was a little... Well, wait.
They mix up a baby cocktail with an eyeball
That's
on it.
true.
That was pretty cute.
Yeah. So we were wondering about like gestation periods. So how do we were so happy to like really lock in on that timeline in Shrek 1. I feel like every movie after that, we're sort of losing focus on time spans.
They could have been gone for months and it kind of felt like that.
Right. So that's sort of like we were talking earlier about Batman. It's not as bad as Batman Returns or whatever the fuck it's called. The Dark Knight.
Rises.
Yeah.
Boo.
But
when they introduce a ticking clock and then completely throw it away moments after introducing it, where you're like, wait, why even introduce it? They're like, you have 30 days. Then they're like, you've got 3 hours. You're like, wait, what the fuck? Why even introduce the 3 months thing or whatever? This is crazy.
Yeah. So I think
Jesus.
it didn't quite fall into that trap, but the journey,
yeah,
in the same way that Shrek 1 had a journey that was strangely short, this had a journey that was inconsistently long.
Right.
So
there's a shipwreck. They're like sleeping in different places. It's very strange. It's very hard to tell.
High school.
They go to high school.
Yeah. You saw Arthur get lanced.
We saw Arthur get lanced. We saw Arthur get low-key carried. Not like full carried, but like humiliated at a high school function.
Yeah.
No pig guts.
No butt? No what?
No pig guts.
Pig guts. Oh, you said big guts.
No big guts.
No big guts for Artie.
Just my guy Shrek.
Yeah, he's a green
old
guy.
Okay, so this is an observation I made. Shrek now just looks like Jeff Garlin. In Shrek the Third, he's just green Jeff Garlin.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like.
Who's Larry?
I don't know if there is a Larry really.
Yeah, there's got to maybe Larry David.
I guess the donkey in a way like has a Larry poking fun at the world. You know?
It's a bit of a stretch. I don't think we need to add in a Larry. But yeah, I think Jeff Garlin, it's sort of like that movie, like What Kind of Cheese Are You or something. What was that? I'll Be Having Your Cheese.
I never saw Jeff Garlin's Passion
I'm not going to
Project.
take a point because I really can't remember the title.
That doesn't deserve a point to begin with.
But he did direct a movie and there was no Larry David in it. It was called
And did people like it?
Where's My Cheese? No, that's a book about business.
Where's My Cheese?
That's a business book.
You've read a business book?
No, I mean, I haven't worked a day in my life, so I used to go to a bookstore and just I went back and forth between the sex section and the business section because those were my 2 interests at the time. They still are. I haven't had either yet.
On his browser, he's got 2 bookmarks folders. One says sex, one says business. And baby, they're both packed.
Yeah, I get them mixed up sometimes.
Hey,
sex and business.
If you're doing either of them right, they feel like the other one.
Right. Just like if you choose the job that you love, you'll never work
a day in your life.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think. I've been told that many times.
Shrek does not want the job he's been given. He does not want to be king at all.
Or Papa.
He doesn't want to be Papa or king.
I think that's really good. I think that was a good dual. Like we've always had. It's been a complicated little verse. Shrek 1, friendship, love. You had to deal with learning how to love himself and others. Shrek 2, was there a dual or was it sort of singular in that?
No, it's more journey? Like being accepted by a community, by a family, by structures outside of his immediate relationships.
Yeah, I feel like he still was, it was more one, but it did have to do with his marriage. And
well, Shrek 1 is like his birth and creation, kind of.
Oh,
Shrek 2 is like, now that you are your own person, who are you in society? Shrek 3 is like, what is my future?
The third.
What am I?
Shrek the Third.
Fuck.
It's okay.
Chris?
It's okay.
Chris? Rupert? Julie? Dan Harmon, you're just sorry to him. He seems kind of,
He seems like an asshole.
Take a break, guy.
Yeah.
And Charles.
Thank you.
You're
Wait, should I
welcome.
take a break or was that an apology?
No, that was an apology.
Okay, thank you.
But if you want to take a break,
I wouldn't mind. I've never worked
a day in your life.
Yeah.
Because if you get a job you love, or don't get a job at all.
Or don't get a job at all. But I
There's
do
two
miss
options.
those smoke breaks. I'm going to start smoking.
You don't smoke.
I know, but I'm going to start smoking just so I can get those breaks. I hear their breaks are great.
When I met Charles, I was like, this guy must smoke. Doesn't smoke.
No, I smoke once a season.
And what's the occasion?
When I'm feeling, oftentimes with you,
We'll have a cigar.
we'll have a cigar. I'll just have a pipe. We'll have a pipe.
You'll bust the pipe out.
Yeah. But yeah, once a season. I'm a very seasonal smoker.
Does anyone smoke in any of the Shrek movies?
It's just those two high schoolers.
Well, that's true.
But we don't see it on camera. No, I think
Right.
smoking is out. I think this one was the lowest in also body stuff too. We got a huge parade of vomit.
Okay, in the Baby Dream, which is insane, there is a unbelievable vomit jet.
Fire hose.
It's crazy. Okay, I did like that the movie closes strong by going back to its basics.
Yes.
When we get to the Shrek household with all their Shrek kids, they're shitting and farting
Yes.
and puking
See,
and
that's what
snotting and being gross as hell.
We were waiting for that. And I think it's nice that so in the same way that the birth of Shrek, of course, is going to be loaded with shit and piss because that's what babies do.
That's what I'm told.
Shrek 2, I stopped shitting my pants in like 10th or 11th grade. So Shrek 2 is going to be a little less. And then Shrek 3 is the oldest now
He passes the torch.
onto a new
Now
breed.
his new Shreks are shitting and pissing and fucking
He didn't
being
shit
horrible.
or piss once, did he?
He did. Okay, there was the infamous butt scratching scene.
Yeah, that was good.
He's like, someone scratched my fucking
What was
ass.
his name? Wimple
He's like,
Snips?
Fiddlesworth. He's like, yeah, fuck yeah. Fiddle that ass.
He literally was like, I'm going to
Fiddle Shrek's ass.
Oh, good. I'll use you later or something. What was he? He said his name was
cut to-
Fiddlesworth, and he's like,
that's about
good.
right.
Yeah.
So he's like, hell yeah.
You worth my fiddles.
Yeah, and then he fiddles with Shrek's ass.
That's good.
That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah. And then he gets hoisted somewhere and falls on a cake. I forget, but it was good shit.
That seems a bit much. There's some physical comedy at the beginning where I was like, this is a bit much.
When they're wearing the clothes,
Yeah.
look like scarecrows.
Oh, wait, hold on. We forgot about one really funny thing in this. Towards the beginning, when Shrek and Fiona are acting as king and queen, when he just tries to do everything and fucks it up horribly.
Oh my god, that was great.
That's really
like
funny.
that was in the first couple minutes.
Yeah.
So like that really set the tone. Like he chops a man's head off, he sets a boat on fire. Like we know this is not going to be your typical Shrek. This is taking things even more exaggerated and funny than the other ones.
There's another moment in this that pushes it to a level that I think makes Shrek 3 so far. Fuck.
Come on, man.
I'm honestly slipping. I'm so sorry. We've watched 3 Shreks today.
I feel like I've told you now so many times.
I don't want this to come between us.
I don't either, but I just keep saying it, and I thought you were listening, you made changes, but now you're going back, and it's like...
I can change.
You can?
Please trust me.
All right.
I can do this. For us and our future.
Great.
We have at least one more Shrek movie to cover, so we need
at least one more episode.
to drag our way through it.
All right.
Okay, no. After John Cleese's The Frog King dies, there's a musical number that is easily the most surreal sequence in any Shrek movie, even more so in a way than the Baby Dream, because we know that's a dream.
Right.
In this scene, we are led to believe that everyone's listening to Live and Let Die by Paul McCartney and Wings, but then it seems to suggest that frogs in the movie are singing the song. So we're led to believe by the visual storytelling that they are literally listening to Live and Let Die in the world of Shrek.
Sung by frogs.
I don't think there's been a weirder moment of the series
Right.
where I was like, what are the rules here? Because later...
Was that the first song in the movie too, right?
I
Maybe
believe,
it was early, and we're like...
very early.
This is very un-Shrek.
The tone is very weird.
Very un-Shrek.
Because then later when they do the immigrant song by Led Zeppelin...
Mm-hmm.
One
Right.
of the princesses sort of sings along with it out of time, weirdly.
Yeah.
So they are suggesting in the realm of the Shrekiverse, they're listening to the hits of the 70s.
And as you noticed, which I missed, at the high school band plays
All-Star
by
with a,
Smash Mouth.
medieval trombone arrangement or whatever.
So like they're really doing interesting things with the music. I mean, I know your mom loved the music in the first one, but I didn't. And
Okay.
I think again, there's a nice improvement, nice growing up.
I remember what the thing was earlier.
Me
we were going
too.
to talk about
I remember
this
it too.
movie. Okay. Again, how do you really show that you're willing to swing nut as the new director, new writer of the Shrek movies?
Right.
Like, okay.
We've seen all these changes.
Right. Now, the eels have been in the first Shrek movie.
Yep.
The eels have been in the second Shrek movie. What if we open and close Shrek the Third with the eels? And they do.
And they do.
And
it works.
Very strange.
Yeah, I think it works.
The commitment to the eels that this film series shows is unwavering.
This is the only thing that's committed to the eels. His wife, I'm sure whatever his name's wife, what's his name? Michael.
I want to say Mark. He has a real Mark vibe.
Yeah, he's probably been divorced more than Shrek's given up on him. So yeah, it's he's doing well, even though he shouldn't. But yeah, they really committed to the eels, and I like the eels. I like the songs they chose, except for the last one, which must have been more recent.
It was more recent.
Yeah. But again, I think we're slowly...
Oliver Everett.
Hell yeah. I think we predicted this, that as time went on, the movie would become less and less a soundtrack movie. I think that's sort of how movies made money back in the 90s and early aughts. And we're finally seeing them being like, well, let's fuck around with the music. Let's not just choose modern hits. Let's go back to the Beatles. Let's go back to what's his name. Let's go back to...
No, there was a Beatles song too.
That's right. There was a Beatles song.
Really weird.
Yeah.
Also, we noticed this. Tom Waits is in this movie.
Yeah. So
if that does something for you, like maybe just see Shrek 3 because you want to know what the shit Tom Waits gets into. Fuck me.
The third. Why do you keep doing this?
Because I'm not good at my job.
Why do you keep doing this? But
I mean,
I've never had a job. But
this isn't a bit. I'm actually not doing a good job at this.
I know. And it's it's worrying.
Upset.
It's worrying me.
You look worried.
It's like, I don't know how else I can tell you. Is there another way I can tell you?
You could tell me by putting on an alt rock song and doing like a 90 to 120 montage, like walking around. 220, excuse me. Walking around looking sad like in the Shrek movies.
Okay.
That's the ultimate way to convey emotion.
Yeah, and I think they were riffing. I think there was what was the one that they did instead of Hallelujah this time?
I don't even know.
There was
there were weird covers in this too.
Yeah, a lot of weird covers. There's the Buzzcocks cover, right?
And the David Bowie cover.
Yeah, so it
was really weird.
I was loving everything that happened in Shrek the Third.
Prince Charming wandering around just murdering people.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Dark.
Really dark.
Dark. We haven't even finished the cast list. So we got a John Krasinski, we got a Seth Rogen, we got a
Maya Rudolph, I alluded to earlier,
Amy Poehler,
it's
Justin
nuts.
Timberlake. So they really was like, what is happening with this series that needs a little brightening? And they realized it's the supporting cast.
And they really stocked up on it, and it shows. It's great.
They really they got it. I mean, there's only so much. I still love the Pinocchio, and I love the Cookie Man, but they are winning. Everyone else, the pigs, are struggling to survive, even though they're not that great. They're doing okay, and the wolf was okay in this one.
The wolf was okay,
but they're realizing that the things that were working in Shrek 1 and Shrek 2, they're not aging well.
Except for that ugly stepsister joke that only gets sharper and sharper with time.
So good.
They're like, let's just really triple down on it.
Yeah. What if we had them be like, let's violent and punching each other and talking about men, and it's just like really uncomfortable.
Yeah, ham-fisted brutes in makeup.
Yeah,
cool.
That's funny.
Tasteful.
Yeah, so that's something that we can get rid of. But what else? So, I mean, Shrek Ever After.
Well, hold on. First off, I am not. I'm surprised to say this. I'm not asking when will it end.
No.
I legitimately feel like this new group of creative minds behind the Shrek series has taken it in an exciting direction. I'm looking forward to the fourth movie.
Me too, and I'm excited for more. I want to see who hell fuck. I don't give a shit. Get a new crew in here. Sort of do like a Mission Impossible. Just get new writers, new directors. I don't care. This is working.
I mean, you leave Tom in, like you leave Mike in.
Right.
That's the glue, babe. Yeah. That's the glue.
But and also this was the same writing force behind Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Wild Wild West. How can you go wrong with
Two equally beloved movies that both are very good and both work. Yeah,
and I think the themes that we're dealing with are getting even subtler. Like, we've talked about this, friendship, love, marriage, but like this is like the way that it brought in fatherhood, not only as becoming a father, but talking about fathers in general. The scene where Artie and Shrek really bond is when they're talking about their fathers and how bad they were.
It's kind of like in Fast Five when
Right.
Paul Walker and Vin Diesel really connect in that conversation about their absent father figures.
Right. And then you see that one insane scene where the one-eyed monster's like, who would have thought a monster like me deserved this? And it's like a very touching scene that you don't even see coming. And Shrek just like sits there with that. So I think this movie really was fun. It was funny. I had a great time, but I think it's also doing great work to make me feel things. They're doing great. This was such a surprise. I was expecting to mock the fuck out of this whole series, starting with the first one.
So now we're dancing on the razor's edge, going into Shrek 4.
You can call it Shrek 4.
It could be a fucking disaster.
I can't imagine it being good, but honestly, they've surprised me time and time again. I just don't want to get into a lull being like, they keep doing better and better. This is going to be the best. I keep waiting for it to become the meme, to become the weird Green Man story that it should have become long ago.
Well, I guess I'm at the point where I don't know what's coming next, and I'm kind of excited. I have no forecasting now. I truly don't know.
No, is there anything that you want though? Like, what could we get?
We need a serious new antagonist.
Right. So I'm curious. So Shrek 1, we see Farquaad get eaten. Shrek 2, the lady turns into bubbles. Shrek the Third, he doesn't die. He gets crushed by the house, but it seemed like it was a little Buster Keaton action going on.
They left an open door there for sure.
Right. I mean, there was an open door in all of them. Maybe. Whoa.
Is it time for a villain team up? Shrek?
Can I propose that? So far, all we've seen is Fargo get eaten by a dragon, but who knows? Again, shit it out. Whatever.
Shit it out. If they bring back Lithgow, I'm stoked.
Shrek 2, Bubble Woman. Who knows? She can't unbubble. I mean, she arrives in Bubble in the first scene that we see her in. Maybe that's her natural form. Maybe she can just come back. So we could have a 3-way villain mashup.
That's how you close out a series.
I honestly, yeah. Why are we even talking about Shrek 5? But maybe Shrek 5. We aren't talking about Shrek 5.
I mean, we can't. We could try to track down, scripts. That's not impossible.
Wait, is it happening?
There's been a lot of speculation.
I wonder if it'd be worthwhile. But we'll have to just wait. We'll have to watch Shrek 4.
I think it's good to have something to look forward to in life. And Shrek 5, at this point in my life, that has become the thing I'm looking forward to.
Right, and getting a job. Fine. I feel like it's about time.
Well,
working, sweating.
Let's not jump to conclusions.
What's sweat like?
I'll tell you after we're recording. It's pretty good.
You gonna show me or
it's
tell
delicious.
me? Yeah, Shrek loves it. There hasn't been any sweat.
No. When he hacks the guy in the shoulder, he's supposed to knight the guy.
Yeah.
That guy's sweating like a motherfucker.
Oh, boy.
Do you see that shot? He's like digital sweating. It looks really weird.
Actually, in the first one, too, when he's like, gets the hanky, he wipes sweat.
Well, it's more like soot, I think, from the dragon, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess so. I just imagined I would be sweating.
In this movie, there was no body transformation for Fiona. That's the first in the series.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a good track. Great notice.
Pretty good at podcasting.
Yeah. So no body transformation for them, but I think they wasted it on. They probably have a body trans quota.
I think that the personality
the swap
switch,
out.
Yeah. Okay, with that being said, in 4, I'd love to see a return to form from Mike Myers. I want to see the donkey get back up the ladder a little bit. I want a really good villain. And I want the stakes to be maybe a little bigger than just this castle and this kingdom. I'd be a little sad if they really settle on just essentially 2 locations, the swamp and far, far away.
Yeah.
Give me something else.
I love that. Great point.
Keep blowing our minds, guys.
Yeah, new planets, maybe.
All right, this has been When Will It End? I'm honestly excited for Shrek 4.
I'm also Charles and excited for the 4th one. Thanks for listening. Josh and Charles Productions at it again with a new episode produced by Josh Landis and edited by Charles Hobby. As always, Waste Management provided that song at the top and at the bottom. If you like them, they're on Spotify and SoundCloud. If you liked us, we're on iTunes, so you can please give us a review, rate us, but only if you're going to give us 5 stars. We don't want any fewer than 5. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All going to be there as at WWIE Podcast. We got email too. You can shoot us some ideas for a series. We got a lot, but if you like one, we might do it. So send us an email. You can also just say hey or ask us questions. We like answering questions. So at WWIEpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again. This is Charles, and we'll be talking to you soon.